What's good, y'all? What's good, Real Talk Squad? This is Miles. You are listening to Real Talk of Miles Johnson, where you know we always keep it real. Let's get straight into it, man. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. Share a friend, share a friend. Let's get into some real talk. Boom. Training camp is over. It is over. Gonna recap that for a little bit. And there's been some stuff in the NFL with the Colts. We talked about that last episode, but we didn't really talk about their quarterback. And I want to talk about that, brother, because his situation debunks the whole argument that if you have good to great players around you, you're guaranteed to succeed. Anthony Richardson is a clear example that just because you got talent around you don't mean you good. This brother got Jonathan Taylor, a great offensive line, a really good wide receiver duo, Michael Pittman Jr., Joshua Downs. Hell, we only see what Alec Pierce does when Joe Flacco's in there. I mean, the only thing that you could say the offense lacked was a tight end. And they got Tyler Warren in the first round. And Anthony Richardson is essentially getting the boot from Indianapolis. This is Shane Steichen's team, right? Shane Steichen is the coach. He's the same guy that y'all said made Jalen Hurts. No, it's the reverse. Because you could only do so much with the players you got available. And so I want Anthony Richardson's experience just to show that just because you got talent around you doesn't mean you're guaranteed to succeed. And I think the Colts botched this whole thing. I think if AR went to the Chiefs with Andy Reid, went to the Rams with Sean McVay, went to the Vikings with Kevin O'Connell. Hell, if he went to the Eagles, we'll talk about that real quick, he would do well because they have great cultures and they have coaches that know their stuff, but most importantly, an organization that is known for developing quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson, there was a trade that he should go to Philly. And the Eagles trade Tanner McKee. I'm letting you know, Tanner McKee is the second most valuable player on the Eagles. He's more valuable than Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley. He's more valuable than all of those guys. Because if Jalen Hurts goes down, it's on Tanner McKee. The quarterback has the most influence on the game. That's why I believe quarterback wins are a stat. And we saw last year the difference between Jalen Hurts being out versus Jalen Hurts being in. And Kenny Pickett, he wasn't terrible. He wasn't a scrub, but there was a drop-off. And I believe that if Jalen Hurts plays the full Commanders game, we sweep them for the whole season. So Tanner McKee is so valuable, there is no scenario that I am trading that guy and we don't have a clear guy coming in as the number 2. Because Tanner McKee is miles. When I say miles, I mean miles better than Anthony Richardson. Oh my gosh. If you gave Tanner McKee that Colts team, dare I say Sam Darnold type of season, that might be too far. But I could definitely see like 22 passing touchdowns, 9 picks. Like, I could see him being a top 15 quarterback in the league with that Colts squad. But back to the Eagles, Kyle McCord, I like the guy, but he's not developed that much where you trust him to be the backup. You don't trust him like that. I think in a year to 2 years, you could see Kyle McCord become the quarterback too. But you don't trade Tanner McKee without knowing that you got a guy as the backup to Jalen Hurts, because you never know. You never know. The Miami Dolphins do not take, for some reason, they don't take having a backup quarterback serious. It makes no sense to me. You got a guy who has had concussion after concussion after concussion, and you still don't take that position serious. Newsflash, the backup quarterback position for the Dolphins is more important than Tyreek Hill. Like, that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. So that's my thing on it. I saw a trade that had Tanner McKee going to the Colts and Anthony Richardson going to the Eagles. F that. For all of that, I would bring back Justin Fields. I would bring Justin Fields. F that, bro. F that. I'm bringing Justin Fields next year to Philly. If we're going to trade Tanner McKee, I want Justin Fields in Philly, because everybody knows he has no shot of being the quarterback one. I mean, nobody does except Patrick Mahomes, but nobody does. And he has a similar style to Jalen Hurts in terms of being a dual threat quarterback. Does he have the accuracy? Hell no. The processing? Hell no. The pre-snap awareness? Hell no. The deep ball? No. But he's a poor man's Jalen Hurts. I'd rather have that than trade Tanner McKee and have Anthony Richardson. Hell no. Hell no. 48% completion percentage, yo. 48% completion percentage. So that's what that is there. I do want to talk about training camp real quick. We know with Keely Ringo, he's cooked. I mean, what's going to end up happening, in my opinion, is Jacorian Bennett is going to start eventually, and then Adoree Jackson is going to be the bench guy. That's what's going to happen, I believe. And this kind of relates to that. But I've been hearing talk that Jahan Dotson, the Eagles should trade him for a cornerback. What is this obsession with trading Jahan Dotson? What are we talking about? This is a guy that turned up and played his best ball of the season in the postseason. He had a touchdown against the Packers, and he damn near had a touchdown in the Super Bowl. He ended up catching on the 1-yard line, and it led to a touchdown. This was a guy that in the biggest moments with limited opportunities, he snapped. That's why I look at Quez Watkins, the former wide receiver 3, and I'm so disgusted, because don't give me the limited reps, limited receptions excuse, because Jahan Dotson, the biggest moments, he showed up. Quez Watkins is the reason why Jalen Hurts perhaps didn't trust the wide receiver 3 early on last season, because he was like, Quez Watkins screwed me. He dropped the freaking ball in the Super Bowl. He cooked me. All of us, you don't think if Quez Watkins catches that ball, If Quez don't catch that ball in the third quarter and the Eagles go up by 10 points, you don't think the Eagles win the bowl? Come on, man. Come on. So that's exactly what it is. Jahan Dotson is a baller. He's a gamer. He's clutch. And now he has a full offseason with Jalen Hurts, which he did not have last year. I expect Jahan to have a much, much more productive season this season. That's what it is. So I'm not buying trading Jahan for what? So John Mechie can be the wide receiver 3? Nah. And I like Darius Cooper a lot. He's my pick to be the wide receiver 4. But the thing is, Jahan Dotson has a year plus. He has a year and some change in terms of working with Jalen Hurts. You gotta keep the guy for one more year. Now, you could say, hey, I'll keep Jahan for one more year. And then if Cooper, I said Cooper, well, if Darius Cooper shows promise, he can replace Jahan Dotson. I'm with you there. I'm with you there. But it doesn't make sense a couple weeks before the season to trade your wide receiver 3, who outside of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, he's had the most reps and is most comfortable with Jalen Hurts. What's up with that, bro? So that's what it is. Go to the defense. I think the Eagles' defensive line is going to have to make up for what they lost in the secondary. Because we cannot undersell how important Darius Slay was. Because when he was even out of the game, and I like Isaiah Rodgers, there was a drop-off. Now, I believe, given the situation the Eagles are in, they should have kept Isaiah Rodgers. But Darius Slay was clearly better. That's why he was starting. Now you're levels below Darius Slay. So because of that, you're going to need more from Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Mora Jomo. You're going to need more from those guys, because if guys like Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, if these guys, Jaden Daniels, if these guys have time in the pocket, they're going to pick apart this secondary. Like, you could be the biggest Dallas hater. I don't like them at all. You could be the biggest Commanders hater. I got them winning 9 games this year. But let's not be delusional and act like if you give any quarterback, that's just good. If Geno Smith has time in the pocket, he's going to pick you apart. Hell, in 2023, the defensive line couldn't get any pressure, and Drew Lock picked the Eagles' secondary apart. So the Eagles' defensive line is going to have an even better season than they had last year. It's a tall task, for sure. Because you're losing Josh Sweat. You're losing Milton Williams. You're losing Brandon Graham. You're losing some guys. But in order for the Eagles to repeat, the defensive line has to make up for what the secondary lost. On the flip side, too, because the Eagles' defense most likely won't be as dominant as it was last season. Like, instead of being number 1, they might be 6 or 7 or 8. That's just being realistic. I don't know if they're going to be number 1 back-to-back years and you lost Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Milton Williams, CJ, and Slay. That's a lot. I mean, if Vic Fangio does that, hey, salute to him. I was wrong. But you might be 7 or 8, which is still top 10, which is still damn good because you got playmakers everywhere on that defense. Like, these are Super Bowl problems. But what this does say is we're going to need more from Jalen Hurts. Like, I'm not one of the guys, and y'all know how I am. I'm one of the biggest Jalen Hurts supporters out there. I will keep it a beat and say, if the defense takes a little bit of a step back, 2,900 passing yards and 18 passing touchdowns isn't going to get it done. Because then you're putting on more pressure on Saquon Barkley to have 340 carries. You don't want that. So I think there's going to be more pressure on Jalen Hurts, more responsibility on Jalen Hurts to make up for what the defense lost too. So not only is it on the defensive line to make up for the secondary, it's on Jalen Hurts and this whole offense, Kevin Patullo as well, the OC, to make up for what the defense is losing in terms of they might go out here and lose a little, lose some guys. Well, they're gonna lose some guys for sure, but they might, go down a little bit of rankings. So that's what it is. Last topic. I want to touch on the NFC as a whole because I feel like we haven't been able to talk about the NFC as a whole. And when I look at the NFC, I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, hey, bruh, the NFC is the Eagles. And this is not me being a homer. I truly believe there's nobody in the NFC on the Eagles level. I do believe the 49ers are going to be damn good in the regular season. They have an easy schedule. Easy schedule. Robert Saleh from the Jets is going to make that defense better. With Kyle Shanahan, they're going to be competent offensively. And if CMC is healthy, they will be nice. I think the 49ers are the number one contender to the Eagles, given the fact that they will most likely win their division and to have multiple home playoff games. And they might be the ones that meet the Eagles in the NFC Championship. Number 2 is the LA Rams. And this is why I'm a little bit wary about them, just because Matthew Stafford's back is messed up. And he's been throwing, he's practicing now. But the thing is, your back is hurting and you ain't been hit to the ground yet. So what's going to happen when you face the Eagles and Jalen Carter, instead of saving you and picking you up, instead of doing that, what does he do? He throws you down. What you going to do then? So I do think that is real cause for concern for them. But if Matthew Stafford is healthy, they should be the second contender to the Eagles in the NFC. But the Vikings, I don't trust them because I can't trust J.J. McCarthy to do more than what Sam Darnold did. I just don't. I don't trust the Lions because the Lions are going to have a 2023 Eagles type of year. They lost both of their coordinators. Also, their offensive line took a major hit. Several guys left or retired. And so they're going to be a situation where Jared Goff is going to have to be a game changer. That's not him. He needs everything right in order to be successful. We're looking at this, and all I hope is that the same energy that Nick Sirianni got, I hope that goes to Dan Campbell. I don't want to hear the excuses. I don't got Aaron Glenn. I don't got Ben Johnson. Nah, because Nick Sirianni didn't get any of that grace. None of that. And rightfully so, because it wasn't his best year in 2023. But I don't want to hear the excuses for the Lions. You can miss me with that, bruh. And best believe their downfall is coming. So I'm ruling them out because I won't say they might not make the playoffs, but they're not winning their division. They're not winning the division. I think the Vikings will win the division, but I don't trust them in the playoffs because I don't trust JJ McCarthy over Jalen Hurts in the playoffs. We're not doing that. That's like easy money there. So outside of that, the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield, like not trusting them to go far. The Packers got a lot of good guys, very good guys, but it's not guys that are like elite. They have nobody that's elite on their team. Uh, and then the NFC East. And the Commanders are going to drop off. The Cowboys and the Jerry Jones and them are still beef. I mean, Jerry Jones is still beef with Micah Parsons. I was about to call him Michael, but I'm looking at this and I'm saying the only contenders in the NFC are the Eagles, the 49ers, and the Rams. Those are the only teams the Eagles should keep their eyes on. Because everybody else, I'm not worried about them. Not worried about them at all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. It is Real Talk with MJ, where y'all know I always keep it real. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. We are out.